do we finally get to the realization that we are picking quarterbacks based on an interview that they've prepared for months, if not years, to take, and they're going to know exactly what to say in those moments? Okay? That's what this video is about.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage.
So I finally find myself at this crossroad. It's something I've had like a little tinfoil hat theory for a little bit, and I want to expand on it. We're going to reference some articles. We're going to look some stuff up. This isn't going to be my normal video where it's kind of at least a little curated. This one's going to be a little bit more free-flowing, free thought. First of all, I want to tell you why you're here. I'm here to talk about my view on why the NFL, in my opinion, is on the precipice of a massive shift. Paradigm shift, if you will. That paradigm shift is going to be towards people that are polished. Now, when we talk about polish, we talk about things like this S2 score. We talk about the way they physically are built. Are they injury prone? There's so many other ways to do this. But one of the overlooked things that we're seeing from this NFL scouting combine is people are prepared now. People are being told what to say, being coached the right way, and everything like that. So have we gotten to the point now in the NFL where the scouting combine means less because there is such a wide range of ability and resources for people to be able to nail that test 100% every time? Okay. The first quarterback that I think truly did that is not even Bryce Young. And again, I'm a Panthers fan, so the whole Bryce Young thing is a little salty for me right now. I'm still a little upset about it. But I think it actually happened way back. I think it happened before Bryce, to be honest with you. I think it happened with a little person named Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence was the guy coming out. If my Panthers could have gotten him, I would have taken him 100 out of 100 times. And I still believe that he's the best of those prospects coming out. Now, moving to his draft, Trevor Lawrence drafted QBs. Trevor Lawrence to Trey Lance. These are all the people that were drafted with him. Okay, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick. Justin Fields, number 11. Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Okay. Out of this draft right here, those ones right there, this is a C draft for me. Now, this goes into kind of what I've been saying. The testing, the preparedness that people have in the draft and the scouting combine and all that other stuff. In fact, there's a story from years ago of a person who literally just did scouting and combine stuff because they knew that's going to be the only thing they were going to get tested on. They were only running the 40 and only doing these certain drills to maximize that ability. So I think that's what we're seeing here. What we saw last year and what we've seen for the last few years. We have guys that are smart, talented, good quarterbacks even, but they're just not NFL quarterbacks. Even in that Trevor Lawrence draft, to be honest, Trevor Lawrence is a C+, B- quarterback to this point. I mean, he had the one playoff thing with the Chargers, and that's pretty much it. His first season was an absolute disaster. Drawing comparisons to what Bryce Young is going through right now in Carolina, I think that Trevor Lawrence was the S2 score beginning because he already had the intangibles. He just was already smarter than everybody else as well. Now let's transition to the reason why I actually made this video, and that's this man right here, Bryce Young. Bryce Young, along with a lot of the quarterbacks coming out in this draft, mainly Caleb Williams, Drake May, I think Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Penix, and maybe even McCarthy could do something long term. But if you told me I could take Nix, Penix, Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy against the other three, against Caleb Williams, Drake May, I would take those other ones because I don't think that the Drake Mays, the Caleb Williams, and all that are going to translate. We just had this conversation with Sinatra, shout out Sinatra, in our interview with him, where we're talking about that, and Caleb Williams is not Patrick Mahomes, okay? Just like Bryce Young is not Drew Brees. Just like he's not CJ Stroud. These people are not the same comparisons. Caleb Williams will not come out and will not ascend to the throne of top 5 in the first year. It doesn't matter what team he goes to, unless it's a San Francisco or somebody like that that's ready to win now. I don't really care what they decide to put around him. It comes down to that these guys are built for football. They love football. But those test scores are not what's on the field. Those test scores are not the true way to figure out if this quarterback is going to succeed at the next level. We know that because we have a history of the rookie season of Bryce Young and the rookie season of many other quarterbacks that just didn't flesh out. What you score on a test does not indicate how you're going to succeed. That's just not how that works, okay? If it's a passing drill, hey, that gives us a little bit more credence, but you need to be in the right system with the right pieces and all that other stuff. So we're going to get into this article finally. I'm going to expand on it a little bit more of my thoughts of the reason why I think the S2 scores are the problem. So this comes to us from Zach Al-Khatib on 4/6/2023. Hopefully you guys can see that. Shouldn't be a long read at all. It says, what is S2 in the NFL? Explaining Bryce Young and other QB scores for the 2023 draft cognition test. Bryce Young is not the biggest quarterback prospect of the 2023 NFL draft. He doesn't have the strongest arm, nor is he considered the best pure passer. But one metric Young has in spades over the rest of the 2023 draft class is cognitive speed as determined by the S2 cognitive test. It's one of the newer tools used in the NFL to help teams evaluate potential draft picks, one that purportedly determines athletes' split-second information processing and decision-making ability. That sounds great in theory, okay? And almost a year ago, because it is March 6th now, when I'm recording this video, see this? Oh man, he's such a, he processes it so quickly. He's a supercomputer, man. That's Bryce Young, supercomputer. No, that's not, because he struggled to pick up Frank Reich's offense when everybody out here told me that Frank Reich's offense was 30, 40 years old. So he can't understand an old offense, but apparently he's a supercomputer. Regardless, let's move forwards. Young's S2 score is among the reasons why he is predicted to go number 1 in the 2023 NFL draft to the Panthers, who are one of the 15 teams to use it. A pair of Vanderbilt neuroscientists, Brandon Alley and Scott Wiley, are behind the test, which they claim is predictive of NFL success, especially among rookie quarterbacks. Some positions require more visual processing or cognitive processing than others. Alley told The Athletic recently. As an example, the quarterback position is heavily dependent on reading what the defense is doing and rapidly making decisions based on those reads. But can it predict how well Young will transition to the NFL? Alley believes the results speak for themselves so far. The Sporting News, which is where we were able to get this article, I will make sure it is in the description below. With that, Sporting News breaks down what the S2 test is, how it purports to predict NFL success among QBs, and how Young's score compares to his draft class. So it looks like the S2 testing began in 2015, and unlike the now past Wonderlic, doesn't measure general intelligence and instead determines the speed at which players can process split-second information and how fast they can act on it. The Athletic also notes that the 2020 collective bargaining agreement limits where the test can be administered. It reportedly is not permitted among current NFL players or the NFL Combine, so players generally take it at a college all-star game such as the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine Game, Pro Days, or Top 30 visits. S2 claims to be the only sports evaluation tool to measure the athlete's cognitive ability down to a millisecond, and all tests take place on a specialized gaming laptop and response pad that can record reactions in 2 milliseconds. That's great. Okay, that's great that this test can be like, oh my god, how quickly can you react to a color or whatever this thing may be. I'm not really sure. Hopefully it's going to really explain that, but I don't see how this instinct gauge is really the best way to evaluate a quarterback. The best way is to put him on a practice squad or something like that and have him go up against NFL players. That's how you find out. You find out when he played in the NFL, or I'm sorry, in the college game. Where did he play? If he's playing at Alabama, he's used to playing with, he's used to playing against NFL ready talent. He's coming from Toledo. That might not be the case. You might need a little bit more. Bryce Young was the quarterback of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's got a national, a natty. Like, come on, guys. This idea that this specific test, which apparently takes 40 to 45 minutes to complete and consists of 9 tests, all of which measure varying aspects of processing speed. Per S2 site, 5 of the mental instincts it tests for includes perception speed, visual search efficiency, trajectory prediction, impulse control, and improvisation. Okay? I'm going to finish this up real quick, and then we're going to hop down to the actual scores, because this is where we start getting into the other ones, okay? Allie told The Athletic that the 3 most important scores for quarterback in the tests are tracking multiple objects, decision complexity, and improvisation. The scores for those 3 tasks, as well as the remaining 6 tests, are graded separately. Then they're plugged into a formula to determine the player's overall score. It's like a decathlon. You don't have to win a single event, but you can actually win the decathlon. It looks like a pattern of scores based on how others did in those 9 tasks. Per a February breakdown of The Athletic's Matt Barrows, one such test consists of a series of diamonds flashing on a screen for 16 milliseconds. The average human blinks in about 100 to 150 milliseconds. Test takers must indicate which point of the diamond is missing by using one of the left, right, up, or down keys. Another test aims to see how many objects a test taker can keep track of at the same time, while another asks them to locate one of the 22 figures on the screen, such as a red triangle embedded in other red-hued shapes. Okay, so that tells me right there, if you're colorblind, you can't do good at an S2 test. Locating figures on a screen, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, like these, you know what this reminds me of right here? I'm going to pull something up. I'm going to pull it up off screen. Hold on. There is a game. Okay, here we go. It is Okay, so does that tell me right here, is this what they're looking for? They're like, oh man, can my quarterback hop on here and just, man, this was Bryce Young. Hey, shout out Bryce Young, man. He's able to, he's the aim god. He's going to be really great at Counter-Strike. He can really see those things on a screen and tell us where they're at. Not process in a game, not see over an offensive line, not execute at a high level, not break 3,000 yards in a 17-game NFL season. But he's really good. He can really process that. Come on, man. Bryce Young's S2 score, generally speaking, players' S2 scores. Generally speaking, players' S2 scores are privileged information owned by teams that have contracts with the company and are not publicly revealed. That said, Albert Breer of the MMQB leaked Young's score on April 13th, a 98 out of a possible 99. Since I've asked, Alabama QB Bryce Young scored a 98 on the S2 cognitive test per sources. That's a huge number, and one of his teammates tied Cameron Latu matched. I mentioned Bryce, Fields, and Allen all in the 90s as high scorers. Young's score edged them all out. Now, I want to ask you a question, okay? Out of these people here, I mentioned Burrow, Fields, and Allen are all in the 90s. All 3 of those guys, including Bryce Young, we'll throw him in there too. There's 4. Bryce Young, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Josh Allen. Only one of those guys went to a Super Bowl, and it was Burrow, his first year in the NFL. Not the, 9 years that Josh Allen has been in the league, that his S2 score really helped then, or Justin Fields, who doesn't even have a trademark right now, or Bryce Young, who's coming off of one of the worst rookie seasons of a quarterback that actually played every game. In fact, if you want to fight me on that, go look up Daniel Jones' rookie stats compared to Bryce Young's. Yeah, miss me with that BS. Moving on, though, The Athletic's Joe Person, which amazing reporter, if you're not following Joe Person, make sure you are, confirmed that score in April, adding that Kentucky's Will Levis, the only other player whose score was made public at the time, scored a 93. I'm not a big fan of Levis, but if he goes to the right system, anybody can succeed. Let's see, Bob McGinn of GoLongTD.com corroborated those reports with more league scores on Friday. Young's score seems to indicate he can easily make the mental transition to the NFL. We consider anything above the 80th percentile to be elite. Allie told The Athletic, but how does this score compare to others? Here are the other scores. Okay, CJ Stroud was in the 18th percentile. Tanner McGee was in the 99th percentile. 79. Hendon Hooker. Hey, you want to see with that right there? This guy won Offensive Rookie of the Year with a bad test score. It means that test doesn't mean shit. This dude, he did all right. Clayton Tune. If you're betting on Clayton Tune, man, you're having a tough time. Anthony Richardson got hurt. I'll give him that. And Hendon is not ready to start because he was hurt. So out of all of these, to be honest, it's wrong. Bryce Young had the worst situation. His test score didn't mean shit. He couldn't get the ball on target to a lot of people anyways. They couldn't establish a run. He was like the second most sacked quarterback in NFL history in a single season. There's a lot of things acting up against him, but there's also a lot of stuff to say, hey, CJ Stroud's S2 score really makes this look like it's not really a thing. Let's see, move to active quarterbacks. Allie told The Athletic his company last year studied S2 tests given to 117 quarterbacks through the 2022 draft. The average score among quarterbacks was in the 68th percentile compared to the 50th percentile across all other positions. Allie said Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow scored in the 97th percentile. That's great. Let's see. Second year 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, who led the San Francisco to the NFC Championship game after taking over midway in the season, reportedly was in the mid-90s. Same goes for Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Moreover, Allie told The Athletic in February that the S2 limited test results to 27 starting quarterbacks from the 2021 season onward. Of that group, 13 had a career passer rating over 90. Their S2 score was in the 91st percentile, while the remaining 14 who each had career passer ratings less than 90 averaged a score of 51 percentile, with scores ranging from 8 to 90. Interesting. Allie told The Athletic that the S2 scores among quarterbacks in the 2023 NFL Draft were considerably better than last year's, when only two signal callers, Purdy and another unnamed prospect, scored in the 90s. Kenny Pickett was the lone quarterback taken in the first round of the 22 draft. I mean, I appreciate you, Zach, for this, but we're moving it over to here now. You got to see me now with this. Do we finally get to the realization that we are picking quarterbacks based on an interview that they've prepared for months, if not years, to take, and they're going to know exactly what to say in those moments? Okay? That's what this video is about. The S2 scores and all of these cognitive things, these interviews and everything, are the things that are going to get players overdrafted. Doesn't really matter what your S2 score is. Doesn't matter what you score at the combine, to be honest. Tom Brady wasn't the greatest combine guy. 7 Super Bowls good enough for you? This is the thing that we have to start thinking about. How many more teams are going to get burned by these guys that just have really good interviews? Can throw the ball, of course, but just know exactly what to say. So this way, when that guy goes over and he asks them, they're like, oh yeah, here's the perfect flowery answer, because that's exactly what I've been told by my representatives. It's exactly what I've been told by my team. I think it's something to think about. The NFL's changing into a crazy place. There's going to be a lot more, hopefully, good quarterbacks moving forwards. There's going to be a lot more good running backs, wide receivers. So I think we're in a weird time where this quarterback thing is very highly valued. And I think that's going to come down here soon. But if this S2 score has anything to do with it, man, Bryce Young's better than Tom Brady. So we'll see what's going to happen. Regardless, if you want to follow us, make sure you follow us on the socials. My name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage. If you want to drop your thoughts down below, please do. Is Bryce Young really him? Does this S2 score matter? At least this year it didn't. And again, is this the beginning of the festering to where we finally look back and say 2015 when that S2 score thing came out, and the people that we ended up taking for the next decade until 2025, how many of them got that picked at a specific position because they were smarter or could process quicker? I don't know, but it's going to be a great thing in a decade or two when they finally prove me right by confirming this theory. But again, my name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage. I appreciate you rolling with us. Hopefully you have a great rest of the day. Peace.